Greetings and welcome to week 11. This week we're going to continue our study of the Millennium Development Goals by specifically focusing on goals 3 and 4. Goal 3, really at its core, is about empowering women and to having, on a worldwide basis, more equality among genders. When we think about the best ways to change the international system for the better, really women are at the key of that. Study upon study shows that in places where women are empowered, in places where women can work, in places most importantly where women are educated, not just in the academic sense, but also about their bodies, about reproductive health, that the societies are much, much healthier and much stronger than those that do not have women that have the opportunities that men have. So, goal number 3 is to empower women and to strive for gender equality. Goal number 4 is to reduce child mortality. And in many places in the world, children have a small, much smaller chance of reaching their first birthday than they do in the developed world. So, how do we give the kids, the newly born, a chance to survive and a chance to prosper in the international system that hopefully the Millennium Development Goals are creating? If you only do 3 things this week, of course you have your journal, and of course you have the blog, and there will be your daily notes. But if you really only do 3 things this week, I want you to watch the 3 videos that we have. The first 2 are short. One is by my friend Jonathan, who you met last week. He was speaking about extreme poverty. This week he is going to talk about child mortality and about the efforts that he is making along with the organization that he works for, UNICEF, that they're making to make goal number 4 real. As I mentioned to you before, Jonathan is an exceptional human being, and I strongly encourage you to take the time to watch his lecture. The second lecture is from also a friend of mine from Fletcher and a classmate and a respected colleague named Mandeep Janeja. Mandeep works also for the United Nations, but she works for the United Nations Population Fund. And so she is going to talk at various times throughout this unit on the Millennium Development Goals. She is going to speak to you and give you brief lectures. This one is on gender equality. So, those are the 2 brief videos that I encourage you to watch this week. The third is an interview by a favorite interviewer of mine, a favorite newsman of mine named Bill Moyers, the legend in the news world of news, in newscasting. But he interviews a guy named Greg Mortensen, and Greg Mortensen is an unbelievable story. A guy who was climbing the 2nd tallest mountain in the world in Pakistan called K2. He failed, came back down the mountain, was lost because of fatigue and really almost lost his mind. Stumbled into a remote camp that was secluded and hadn't really been exposed much to the outside world. And the people in that camp nursed him to health, and to make a long story short, he promised to build a school in their village, in a school that's specifically focused on educating young girls. So he made good on his promise. He came back to the States and he got funding, and he went back and he built a school. And now 15, 20 years later, Greg Mortensen has schools all over the region in between within Pakistan and Afghanistan, and some of the most desolate, impoverished, and quite frankly closed and dangerous for a Westerner areas in the world. These are the areas where the U.S. military and NATO are looking for Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, and this guy goes in and courageously builds schools to educate all children, but specifically young girls. The interview is long. It's 30 minutes or so long, but I can't think of a more inspiring figure than Greg Mortensen. So I encourage you to take the time, and I'm going to to encourage you a little bit more, I'm going to tie the blog question into that interview. Greg Mortensen came to fame really because of two books that he either authored or co-authored. The first one is called 3 Cups of Tea. Sold 3 million copies all over the world, a New York Times bestseller. And then the follow-up to that was called Stones into Schools. I have read them both, and I once again will encourage you, let Greg Mortensen and his story into your life. It will inspire you, I am sure. And I think that maybe it'll spark something in you that that'll be special, and that you'll be happy that you took the time to read the books. So, if you only do 3 things, watch my friend Jonathan, my friend Mandeep, and the Greg Mortensen interview. Next week, we continue with the Millennium Development Goals. We are in the process of finishing our study on geography. So you should be doing now, in the process of doing the map on Northern Africa. In week 11, you will do Southern Africa. Yeah, and I believe there are 22 countries of Southern Africa, but that will be found on the website. You can download the link on the assignments page right above where the maps are that tells you all the countries that you need both for Northern and Southern Africa. Also, you should be getting all your journals and your quarter term assessment, and now you'll begin to get your midterm assessment back as well. In the second half of this quarter, in these final weeks, I encourage you to keep doing the good work. I've enjoyed reading your journals. I am thrilled in many cases by the level of your thinking and by the way it's developed over the course of this semester, and I encourage you to finish strong. Have a good week, and I will see you online. Take care.